稀な着物には情け無用。さあ、かかれ！離せ！島を守れ！かかれ！
I'm writing this fresh off of finishing up the last mission in Ghost of Tsushima, and I had a blast for the most part. For those not in the know, this game stars Jin Sakai, a samurai who was defeated along with his uncle during the Mongol invasion of Tsushima Island. He survives, and with the help of a few of his friends, he begins to fight back against the Mongol invasion with unorthodox methods. This creates a bit of tension between his honorable samurai roots and his newly adapted ruthless methods. The story is rather straightforward in terms of how the invasion starts and ends. It's a vigilante story being told in the days of the samurai, and it works well for the open world environment. There's nothing special writing wise, but it's serviceable for a game mostly about slicing folks to bits. This story has zero chill and is 99% lacking in any levity, and that's usually fine for a short game, but this game is long as hell and brutal to any NPC with a family. So expect some dark times and a dark storyline if you're going to clear the entire island for 40 hours. I didn't play this game in English, so I can't speak to the voice acting there. The Japanese voice actors were very convincing and matched up to the characters. Mostly. Taka sounded super young for someone who looks like they could have a couple of teenage kids. The music is fantastic and has a perfect rise and fall during climactic moments. Its best design choices come from the clang of swords, the scream of archers preparing for a shot, or the squeak of a fox or bird leading Jin to a secret location. I have zero complaints where the sound design is concerned. To me, this game is exceptionally pretty for a console game. I'm talking dense foliage, vibrant colors, deep vistas, massive detail on character models and terrain, exceptional weather patterns and shifting environment details such as varying tree types, denseness of forests, and wildly varying verticality and shifting seasons depending on the region. They've done such a great job at making this game phenomenal on the PlayStation 4 Pro. That's where things get really weird because I don't own one of those. So I'm kind of giving Ghost of Tsushima some backhanded compliments as my experience with the great visuals were met with drastic frame rate issues. These issues are aggravated when there are too many character models on screen when using the base PS4. An intense moment of combat becomes a fight against the frame rate, and all the precision of the combat is hampered by the dips. Actively trying to time parries, dodges, and switch stances is a struggle against sluggish frame rate issues. Jin suddenly stops being a deadly bladesmith as soon as the frame rate drops, but the enemy remains extremely vicious and continue to press the attack. I'm hoping there is a patch later on that addresses some of the issues on the base PS4, because these little problems mess with the best elements of the gameplay. Combat, that is. And there is a lot of it, and it's fantastic when it works well. It's simplistic and involves simple button presses or holds, but the act of swapping between different stances and the cinematic flair of the moves sells the combat so well that the mind forgets how easy the moves are to pull off. The combat with the humans starts off pretty simple and slow, but the steady progression between the island sectors increases the speed and even adds some new enemy types. I found myself jumping off my horse to do battle whenever I caught some Mongols lacking. One place I was not impressed or that into was the stealth mechanics. I think it's because of how simple the AI responds to stealth. They can easily forget about Jin's position, and they can't do much about him going up into high places. Let's just be honest and say they are pretty damn stupid. In my opinion, the game is at its best when it eschews the stealth, and Jin dives headlong into a fortress surrounded by enemies and wades through an ocean of bodies with his blade. Oh, and there's some platforming in the game. That's not really too fleshed out in my personal opinion. I think a lot of inspiration for it was from the original Assassin's Creed games, at least up to AC3. It's mostly tailored automatic climbing with a platforming system that doesn't care about locomotion. Jin can jump long distances even if he's not sprinting at full speed, and simply pointing at a handhold with the analog stick moves Jin towards that location. I didn't like that the platforming was so simple but also frustrating. The idea that in some parts of the game the player has to point the camera directly at a jumping branch or they'll die, even though most of the game you just push the button and Jin goes in that direction. It leads to a lot of unnecessary deaths that are quite frankly more annoying than interesting. The same goes with Jin's very weak knees as he drops down from a cliff or even just a 2-story ledge and buckles from his own weight. I can't tell you how many times I died from falling before I acquired the parkour roll, and even that can't stop our hero from splattering on the ground from what seems like a minor jump for a ninja-like assassin. I'm thinking a heavy or light armor system where he can handle falls better in light armor versus heavy armor. Now, the biggest disappointment would have to be the lackluster use of the grappling hook. Not only is it tied directly to only certain points throughout the game, the only way that it can be used is if the model of the grappling point has a bundle of ropes over it. So, for some reason, the world just has a bunch of snake coil ropes scattered across it that only the ghost can utilize. It's oddly linear for a game that's so vast and open. It's just weird, and I spend a lot of time avoiding its use due to my gung-ho playstyle. Even with the absence of the grappling hook, traversing the world of Tsushima is a breeze. The horse comes, mostly, at a simple call, and it's off to the races and out into the beautiful world. There is always something new to see and discover, but the open world design takes a little too much from other games while offering nothing new to the formula. It's great for someone that loves open world titles like myself, but this is a fair warning for people who don't like repetitive tasks. You are going to destroy an abundance of fortresses, climb a lot of towers, save a lot of random people, etc., etc. And that's not the only place where the game leans on old ideas. This game has a wide variety of vanity items that Jin can equip. The main pieces each have their own bonuses and rewards. Unfortunately, the one we're forced to wear a majority of the time is the Traveler's Attire. This clothing is an absolute necessity for finding all the scattered records, artifacts, and Sashimono banners in the world. The player will have to swap clothes constantly to enjoy the benefits of the costumes while in combat and the benefits of the Traveler's Attire. The same thing goes for the wide assortment of charms. If we wish to play a certain way based on the new equipment applied to Jin, we also have to change the charms to fit the bonuses of the gear we're wearing as well. This game could have really used a loadout type system or even just steal the bonus swap mechanic from the new Spider-Man game. As it stands, it's more of a hassle to switch clothes for looks than it should be. And that's a shame because there are a wide array of masks, bandanas, hats, and color schemes. In the end, what can I say? I love the brutal combat, the elegant visuals, and even some of the repetitive nature of traveling the open world. What I can't stand is the frame rate drops on the base PS4, the lackluster use of the grappling hook, and the overly simplified platforming system. None of this stopped me from knocking this game out and enjoying the experience for my 45 hours of playtime. If they make another one, maybe they could throw some humor into the mix to break up the brutality. Anyway, if you have lots of time, patience, and a PlayStation 4 Pro, grab yourself a blade and slash your way into Ghost of Tsushima.